Jews are really tribal people. And there they are out in the desert. The Semitic people. The Semitic people have been the source of the three great Western religions. All three of them, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, are all products of these Semitic-speaking desert tribesmen, of whom there weren't that many. These are pretty extraordinary people wandering around out there facing a severe and terrifying God who cannot be named. And these guys make the claims. Anybody know what the fundamental Jewish claim is? Who are the Jews? Why do people hate them so much?
They're God's chosen people.
They're the people this terrifying, powerful, and pitiless God picked out and chose as his own. The thing that pisses people off about the Jews is the Jews claim to be God's chosen people. He picked them out from the crowd. How many Jews are in here? You're kind of like mother or father. Mother, see, he's a Jew. Jews are angry. They got a million rules like that. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, you're kind of a Jew, the Orthodox. Have you been bar mitzvah?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Reformed temple.
But it was all about the party,
Yeah. Well, yeah,
It was like maybe a
the
30-minute
DJ,
service.
you
Yeah.
had a theme,
Yeah.
you've never been back since,
Never.
and got a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the recommendation. Anyway, here's the Jews facing this difficult and an invisible God. I'm going to tell you the story of this God, which again, some of you heard, some of you haven't. In the book of Genesis, which I recommend to everybody to read, I think Kiefer's teaching class is the best thing in the world. Crazy. I won't do my Genesis creation stories, that'll take the rest of it. I'm going to do Mount Sinai. Story of the Jews, and this is a weird story. They claim that they were slaves in Egypt, which is not true, but that doesn't matter. That's no evidence that the Jews were slaves in Egypt. Use that story, because that's central to the religion. They leave Egypt, we all know this thing, that there's 10, or how many plagues? 10 plagues? 10. And they get locusts, and they get this, and boils. The last plague, the Pharaoh won't let the Jews out of Egypt. And they're pissed, and God wants them out. This is terrible. God goes around, the Jews put lamb's blood on their door to protect themselves. But he goes around and he kills the firstborn son of every family in Egypt. Just murders this mass murder of children. This is good. This is the Jewish God. And the Christian God is scary. So he kills all these people. Pharaoh finally breaks down and lets the Jews go after this bloodbath. They're leaving. Pharaoh has second thoughts. He's not a nice man. He sends the Egyptian army after him because his own son got killed too. Moses makes the Red Sea part. Jews get through. The Pharaoh's army gets halfway through, closes over, and kills all of them too. So the Jews' liberation from Egypt is costly in human life. Every year the Jews celebrate this at what ceremony?
Passover.
The Passover Seder. I'm married to a Jewish woman, so I've been through a lot of these. This Passover Seder is an endlessly long meal. You never get to eat. You want to kill people by the end yourself and visit the leg on somebody. And celebrates this brutal infanticide and just yocks it up about all this. It's not the passing makes you do that, these people got screwed. But you're essentially celebrating this event, this liberation. Which always struck me as weird until I reflect on being Catholic. That's sensible. Every week you go and you eat the dead body of an executed criminal. Violently. That's really sensible too. Anyway, we're much more reasonable than Jews. Eat his body and drink his blood. Necrophiliac cannibalism trumps the Seder any day. Religion is not very rational. So we're celebrating, but what happens is the Jews then have to wander 40 years, a long time, in the Sinai, the desert, looking for their promised land. And God's feeding them manna. And at some point they stop on the top of, and God comes down to the top of Mount Sinai, the Sinai Peninsula, and he roosts there. And they know he's up there because there's all these clouds and thunder. And they know God's up there, right? They're camped out. And Moses and Aaron go up there and talk to him. And they actually talk to God face to face. But God's rules, and nobody emphasizes, when he settles on Mount Sinai, the first thing he says is, keep those people away from me. He establishes boundaries, certain distances where they can't come. Keep the priest out of here. I don't want to see him. And he said, if they go beyond that line, I'm going to kill them. So here's this God who's supposed to be their protector, doesn't trust these people, doesn't want them getting too close because he doesn't trust them. Right? They have not had a good track record of being faithful. He gives them 613 commandments, of which Christians only get a highly revised 10-commandment version. But Orthodox Jews who live in my neighborhood and around me follow all 600 plus of these. Their lives are difficult, but they seem happy enough because they're sure of themselves. They know what's going on. Anyway, here's God. He gives them this. The Jews, in the meantime, and he comes down. Moses comes down and says the first rule is do not honor God's name and do not have false gods. First basic rule. Don't worship nobody else because a lot of other gods around those days. Jews get bored. They're sitting there for 6 weeks. What's the first thing they do? Aaron, one of the guys who was there talking to God, saw God. He runs the operation. He manages the collection of gold to make a gold idol. The same guy. And they can't wait to get this gold idol and start dancing around. And they know God is up there watching them.
What was
Right
the
in front of
reasoning
them.
behind it then?
What?
What was the reasoning behind
Because
it?
they just
needed
did
something
it.
to
Were they
worship.
bored?
They
Needed
were
it.
perverse. They have never behaved. And God, in a sense, you look at the whole Christian Jewish thing as a tragedy. As God continually offering himself. Look what he did with the Christians. He gives his son. Guy gets killed. Did it matter? No! So here's this poor God, and they're just defying him. And he reaches out and he says, well, I'm going to kill all of them. I am going to kill every single one of those people. Again, you don't hear this from the pulpit very often. He says, I'm going to kill them. He's so angry. And Moses has to plead and deal and beg. He only kills several thousand, which he does do. Again, you don't hear this on the Trinity Broadcasting Channel from the pulpit of the Cathedral of England. You don't hear these stories. God is pissed and he's raging and he's mortal. He's a brutal God. Jews are completely unfaithful. God is a rager and he kills them. Now, what does this God promise his people? God does not promise immortality. Judaism has never had a consistent theory about what happens after death. They have something similar to the Greek where they sort of kind of hang around as shades. They don't have a well-developed idea of heaven. Virtually no idea of hell. And the secret to this is the Jews do not think of human beings as hybrids, and that's critically important. For a Jew, you are one thing. You're an integral creation of God. Your job is to act righteously to other people and to your God to the extent you can. And you do it because you do it. You don't do it to get a reward like all the sleaze, all Christians do. You do it because it's what human beings do. You do it because you have integrity. God would admire that. Christians are kind of, they really are slimy.
Will you explain what a hybrid is again?
A hybrid is you have a soul and a body that don't belong together. The Jews completely reject that. You are one. I mean, there's later strange Judaism that they get into all this stuff, because Plato's very influential. But the original Jewish position is you are one integral being. To be human is to be like a dolphin. When you die, you're dead. Okay? There's no separation possible. If there's going to be an afterlife, it has to be a very different kind.